think otherwise.
Financing for what?
So, financing of public expenditure.
Public expenditure is to be financed for what? That is the point.
No, the point is, you can make public expenditure unless money is there. So what will be the source of income to meet the expenditure? So that is financing or funding the public expenditure. The point here which I am talking that this problem of financing becomes residual for the decision maker. He takes other things into account. So when we discuss public expenditure, you have to take into account the fact who makes the decision. First thing is the political process. Political process. And in this political process, what are the elements involved? What are the institutions involved? What are the processes involved? This is important to understand what we call public choice theory. Where from actually public choice theory is a combination of, you can say, political process and economics. The choice here you have to understand if or through political process we are implementing a particular expenditure program. So this political process is mainly guided by what is called self-interest. They have their own self-interest. Like any individual, we are guided by our self-interest. So you take this self-interest as a common point. From individual point of view, who are they? They are beneficiary of public expenditure. So they are guided by their own self-interest. Individual. Side by side, the decision maker to take decision about actual expenditure is also guided by self-interest. Now, who are the persons involved in the self-interest? So, we as individuals try to maximize our benefit, whereas decision maker also tries to maximize their benefit. Now, this means both the parties are mainly guided by self-interest. So, our self-interest that we should get maximum benefit. Other side, politician side, if you talk self-interest, they maximize the vote. Because what is vote? That you can understand that they must come to power again. Then how to maximize that aspect? So in this process, you have to understand that both the parties are moving towards maximizing their self-interest. One self-interest is reflected by the benefits, that is private individuals, and on the other side, political decision makers trying to maximize their self-interest in the form of maximizing votes. Now, in this process, you have to take into account how this takes place in the decision-making process. What are the things involved that you have to take into account? So, in the democracy, first thing we are talking this in a democratic setup. So, in a democratic setup, what do you find? That you have to take into account. What are the processes of through which democracy works in actual practice? The first thing you decide here, we have election process. And what does it mean? What do you decide through election? Majority. Who gets the majority? So this means a political party or group of political parties, they try to get majority and they will form the government. They will form the government and leading to, they will become the decision maker. You can call it political executive, decision maker. In this process, what are the other elements affiliated to that or attached to that or correlated to that? Then comes bureaucracy. Because actually they are the implementing authority. If political decision is taken that a particular policy should be adopted. Now, how will it be implemented? In what manner? In what gene? This largely depends on the government machinery. You can call it bureaucracy. And bureaucracy, you know, at the various levels of administration, how it moves. So the question that you have to take into account, the first is democracy. Then here you take into account political parties. In our concern, what you find multiple. But suppose in developed country like USA or European countries, Great Britain, suppose you take, they are generally having two parties. And there the choice will be little bit clear for whom? Voter, whom to vote. Here in a multi-party system, particularly at the central level, at the union level, this is not that very clear, and you can say the alternative is not very transparent. But the democracy is working in India. So the question that you have to understand here, that political parties, as I said, they try to catch more votes. That is, you can say they are politicians, basically they are vote maximizers. And we individuals are the beneficiary. Beneficiary of what? Beneficiary of public expenditure. Now here you have to see the gap. We get the benefit. How much benefit we are getting? Is it our individual perception? Different people living at different places, living in different circumstances, their perception of benefit is different. Because you can calculate cost. Cost means tax that we pay. That is the sacrifice which individuals make. For what? Financing of public expenditure. So the question is, we are paying tax, so cost is involved, sacrifice is involved, we know. The benefit of public expenditure, we know. But do you think it is known to the politicians also? What is our sacrifice? What is our cost of paying the tax? They just take the total amount. This money has come from the public as taxation. But what is the sacrifice involved from the people's side, it is not known to them. Similarly, what benefits we are getting, it is also known to the politicians. They have a general perception, I am making this expenditure, people are getting benefit. But the question is there any barometer, is there any measurement that we can measure what is our sacrifice and what benefit we are getting? We have just a general perception. But if you quantify it, it is not possible. It is just a perception. Yes.
Sir, you talked about two very important aspects. One is the political acceptance, their perception, their manner of setting things, their manner of implementing things, and then bureaucracy. To my mind, both the things have got something to do with constitutional economics. There has to be a framework. In that framework, these politicians will have to restrict themselves. The bureaucracy also will have to restrict themselves. So some sort of framework is already existing in all the countries. I think also some is there. The basic thing is that how much leeway that constitutional framework or the legal framework for this deciding of the scheme and the implementation of the public expenditure provides to politicians and bureaucracy that will decide the ultimate thing. Means what I'm trying to say is that probably if we don't take into account this framework, then the element of discretion with the political executive and the bureaucracy should be very high.
Yes, the point you are making that we are discussing all this in a constitutional framework. This is a fact. You have civil servants, bureaucracy, that is also existing. And the question that you are raising here, that they must be doing within this framework, say they are bound by rules, regulations, and there is no discretion.
There is a discretion, but what I emphasize was that the element of discretion is restricted because of this.
Okay. That's why I say that the framework is there in which they are taking decisions. What you want to say that because of this constitutional provision, the degree of discretion to be used by the various elements gets limited.
Yes.
Accepted. But here again, this degree of discretion actually working or not. Discretion is working in what fashion? Let me give just one example. It relates to public policy or public expenditure. You already know you are in the government. Discretionary power of the minister. If you take the literal meaning of the term discretion, discretion means that you are applying your mind. In Hindi we say vivek buddhi, rational approach. But if this discretion is used in that manner, in actual practice,
It should not be arbitrary.
no, it should not be arbitrary. But what is the fact? No, what I am saying, within the rules they are saying, they are justifying in assembly, in parliament, it is the discretionary power of the government to allot land to me. It is done as a discretionary power. Given land to particular institutions, discretionary power. So what I mean to say here, what I talked earlier, self-interest. Why I am getting this? Because self-interest lies on the part of the politician also. And my self-interest is always there. Individual. So we are working in a particular setup, no doubt about this. But the main thing you have to understand how this is working in different democracies. If it is working well, you must understand what are the reasons behind they are working well, and if in our country it is not working so well, you also know what are the factors responsible for that. So when you say public choice and you call it theory, so many best brain is attached to discuss this particular aspect of the theme. It started, suppose, long back, there was an economist, Now, we discussed in a different context, but I am giving a bit of background of this public choice. Now, he actually said you might be knowing quid pro quo benefit in return. He said that whatever tax government is levying, that must be reflected through the benefits that we are getting. So it is a kind of quid pro quo. If I am paying tax, I must get the benefit of that. So this nut mixel version we call benefit theory of taxation. Why should we pay tax? Because we are getting benefit in the form of government expenditure. This was the idea behind this, you can say, public choice. When I say exchange is taking place, exchange of what? It is self-interest. Our self-interest means private people and there is public, government or politicians, the way they are behaving. So first thing, take this thing into account that taxation is not that. The way we define taxation, you must be knowing by this time that it is a compulsory payment. Tax is what? Tax is without any direct quid pro quo, means direct benefit. Tax, if it is imposed, it is a compulsory payment. You cannot escape. If you are escaping, it may be evasion or illegal. But also a tax. Tax is a compulsory payment without any direct quid pro quo. We cannot claim any benefit, we are not paying income tax. Can you claim what benefit you are getting because you are paying income tax? No. Why? Because it is said here that this tax is